other one, a big one, is the difference between abstract results and physical results. If you're a physical result person, then you are going to express your appreciation for your spouse through doing physical things. For example, my wife will pick up my laundry. What I'll do is I'll call her up and say, let's go out and have dinner. So it's a little romantic atmosphere. But she's not going to call me up for dinner. And she always complains I don't do enough. So you got the doing and the abstract. And once we sit down and say, this is what's happening, then every time you get the cleaners, I know exactly what you're expressing. So when I call you up for dinner, no, that's how I express. But now I also know, well, I better do some physical things as well. And she'll do a little more abstract things, but it's not about dinner and things like that.
So explain abstract, like what is an abstract result versus a physical result?
Okay. I think of, let's say a house painter. House painter, the physical result person, he paints the building and really enjoys the colors. He really enjoys looking at it, and the structure and the architecture and just the look of it feels great. When he gets done painting the house, he steps out on the street and says, "Oh my God, this is the best house on the street." That's his focus. Okay, but more importantly, it's that physical activity of doing the painting, seeing the colors, etc.
So physical is the act of doing it and the outcome?
Yeah, is where do you derive the most pleasure?
Okay.
And there is when you generate a physical result, mm-hmm. the receiving individual finds an abstract cause for them.
So explain that.
Okay, so for example, my daughter sings. Mm-hmm. She's a physical-based person. She gets pleasure out of the act of singing. In singing, the listener takes that physical and converts it into abstract. And they have a feeling, an emotional feeling. That's what music does to people. So you generate a physical, they get an abstract. Now,
and that, I'm sorry, but
mm-hmm.
that's how it always is. So physical begets an abstract result for other people other than the person doing it.
Right.
And it's vice versa. So an abstract creates a physical experience for others.
Right. So when I assess people, it's all abstract. When they walk away and actually do something, that's what happens. They do something out of it. They just don't think about what I'm saying and do nothing. They do something. And that's how they derive a benefit out of the lecture or the assessment.
So, can I get more examples of abstract?
What I'm doing right now is abstract. I'm generating ideas. As long as it is non-physical, it's going to be abstract. If you can see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, it's physical. And so, for example, that's where motivation theories have a problem, at least in this country, is that motivation is abstract. You can't measure it, has no height, width, depth, color, nothing. And so that is an abstract idea, but they tried to use physical techniques to find the abstract, and they missed terribly.
So, so then, because you're an abstract, you call abstract results person. Right. So you derive the most pleasure from being an abstract.
Right.
From doing abstract things.
Right.
But you can't do that all the time because the world demands you do physical things.
Yes, I don't like it.
And you don't like it.
It's not that I can't do it, I don't like it.
Yeah. But so, I mean, this is sort of off, but because I like abstract,
mm-hmm.
but I'm a physical results.
I mean, it's not that you dislike it. In other words, when I get done with something that I had to do physically, I'll like what I did, but I won't derive the most pleasure. Okay. It's always about the most. I'll give you one that really surprised me. There's a gal I assessed, what do you like about playing piano? And she says, I like the feeling of my fingers on the keys. I would have never thought of that. But that's where she derives her pleasure. And the sound, not the music, the sound. She was very clear on that. So it was all physical for her. Now, someone else in the audience would just hear that melody and think about their past and what they're going to do tomorrow, and nice thoughts, nice warm fuzzy thoughts.
But so so a person who would be a physical results piano player,
Mm-hmm.
they're creating abstract results for
Exactly.
someone. But if you have an abstract piano player, would they create more physical results for someone?
No, they're gonna generate the abstract. The listener feels the abstractness of that physical result from them.
Right.
The player in this case.
Right.
So a lot of painters, when you think about painting, for many painters that are a physical result, it's in the act of painting. It's in the act of creativity. That is where, but they see it. You see the results. My daughter's also a physical result. And they see it, and that's where they derive the most pleasure. Now, when they're done, they say, yeah, I did a great job, but it's a physical result. Now, another is she doesn't spend a lot of time in abstract ideas. She spends most of the time in, okay, I've got to learn this so I can paint better. That's where focus always is the physical result.
Right.
Now, obviously, we have to do both at the same time, physical and abstract. The only question is, where do you derive the most pleasure? That's what I'm driving at. And when a husband is physical, or the wife is abstract, you find there's a lot of conflict. Once they know what they're doing as far as result goes, and they see it, I've seen that conflict just disappear.
So if we talk about the act of intimacy then, right? Which maybe, so some people want a physical experience and some people want a more abstract experience. In that case, abstract has to do more with the feeling side, like an emotional connection, whereas other people are more concerned with just the tactical,
right,
in that part of the intimacy.
Yeah, one's thinking about relationship and tomorrow and next week and where this is going to go, and the other person is just say, hey, well, I'm going to have a good time now.
And that's a physical result person.
Yeah.
So if you understand that about your partner, you're going to be a little more forgiving.
Sure. because you realize that, okay, if you're abstract, you're not changing. You're not. Now, your physical partner, not changing. Once you get that, then you say, I'm trying to change someone who cannot change. It's not happening. So it's, if you're 5'5" and I can say, no, I want you to be 5'9", what's the point? You're not.
Right. So you just have to kind of be there.
But it's acceptance of them and yourself.
Right.
So that kind of gets back to the authentic then, that physical results, abstract results is part of your authentic.
Exactly. It is.
It cannot be changed.
It's a manifestation. You're right.
Okay.
Right.
And then there's the synthetic that does change. Is that correct?
Well, okay, we'll do this. If we have abstract, and then physical. Okay. The abstract is the cause, the physical is the effect. So in that regard, the abstract is going to control what a physical effect that is conforming to the authentic identity. So let's say you like gardening, for example. So what garden are you going to work at? What part of the garden are you going to work? Is this a big garden that demands a lot of knowledge, a lot of different kind of plants, and you need to know the species and how they function seasonally? Or is this a little, maybe this is a planter box in your backyard. So what this is, it doesn't matter as much as it has to be a plant. It has to be, you have to be engaged in gardening, or something physical. So what this does, it generates a scope. Scope is huge. This is what gives people freedom. This is where the freedom is. So the size of the garden and the type of the garden is over here. It doesn't matter, just as long as it gives you physical result of gardening. That's what you're after. You gotta write this again. Oh. Now this is not physical. What it's doing is it's creating the physical over here.
It's causing.
Yeah.
So all that thinking that you're doing about the size of your garden, the kind of garden, the plants, what plants in the correct climate for the correct result, whether you're growing vegetables or whatever, is all abstract thinking.
Yeah, that part is, but it's glued to the physical results you're after.
Right.
Now, I would say, first of all, I have somebody else do the garden. But I would start off with, how do I want this garden to look? What kind of a feeling would I want in this garden? And how would I want other people to view it? Do I want to have a lot of colors, a lot of aromas or not? Would I want to have a stream? Would I want to have a fountain? And I start describing this, but only in abstract terms that generate a way to return to my past experiences that I enjoyed and bring it into the future. This is where my mind's at.
Kind of a vision.
Yes, it's
a
vision
you've had in the past or a vision you want to have in the future.
Sure.
And then you let somebody else take care of the physical planting and designing and putting everything in because you don't like that part.
Don't like it at all.
You're an abstract person.
That's right. That's right. And it shows up all the time.
And somebody who's a physical person probably wouldn't give that much abstract thinking to it. They'd just start planting plants.
Do it. Get it in there. Do it. This is the plant you need. This is where it should go. That's where the sun is. How much water. That's it.
Right.
That's what they do. And so they might say, well, how does it look? But they're not going to care. I care,
I got you all riled up. We got you there, John. That's where you need to be, I think, don't you?
To give you an idea, I just thought of an experience of an abstract person dealing with plant life. We had someone at the villa to help us out for a while, and he was to go out in front and pull weeds. And so he did, and the day is over, and I walk out, and there's a weed there, and there's a weed there. And these are tall ones. You can't miss them. And I said, Bob, how come these two are sitting there like that? What happened to these two? And he says, they have a right to live too. And now the backyard or the front is in balance. And that's what he thought. Some stayed and some left. You see?
An abstract weed puller.
Yes. That's an abstract weed. Yes.
So then he shouldn't have that job.
No, I know he's gone. No, yeah, he really, it was a problem. Or like we would say, we need to water something. So he'd take a hose and he'd put it at the base of the tree and go read. That's what he did. And then after a while, of course, the water's going down the street and all that. So.
And the reading is another abstract.
Exactly. He's just in ideas. Now, if he was a physical result person, he would stand there with the hose and really enjoy the act of watering.
I love watering. That's so funny. And I really don't care if this stuff lives or dies or what it looks like.
Okay,
I just like the smell of the earth,
there you go.
and I do want the stuff to live, but
Right.
pretty much, yeah.
So we're back to physical again.
Right.
So yeah. So you find that, and what's nice about it, once you find out where you really have the greatest pleasure, then it's real simple. Duplicate it. Do it again. Repetition.
So if we were then to look at, because I'm thinking of like weight loss, which is a big, or exercise, which is a big, right?
Mhm.
That's a big thing that people want to learn how to be more motivated to do.
Mhm.
And so, so because I'm a physical results person, I'm going to be really trying to focus on the pleasure of exercising, sweating, kind of getting in there, doing
Right.
the work.
Mhm.
And other people, so an abstract person might be more into what they would look like or how they would.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if I have to think of the results and what I'm doing it for, and let's say, for example, I'm going to give a presentation to a lot of people. And now, see, that this drives me crazy.
What?
What am I going to do with my hands?
Oh, what?
Just talk with them.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, see,
Sorry,
this is where
it
this thing.
disconnected your brain. Your brain's connected right now. Go ahead.
Now, see, that's a good point.
It
You see
is,
what just happened?
No.
Is I don't want to physically move
Mm-hmm.
because I want to stay focused on the abstract.
Wow. Oh my God.
Isn't that?
I felt it disconnect your brain.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So when I start getting physical, then I start getting distracted.
So your physical results, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, so you guys can move all around and not have a problem.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
But you were talking about exercise.
Okay. So if I was in January, I'm going to give a presentation in front of 500 people.
But this is if you're abstract.
Yes, and
Because abstract, are they more concerned with how they are being perceived? Because perception is more of an abstract thing. Whereas a physical results person would be more about how they feel inside their body.
right, and also how they look and how they feel. That's a physical person.
Oh, how they look is important?
Yeah, how they look. Am I overweight? Am I thin? Do I have big thighs? You know, how women are. So an abstract person, really?
Men are like that too nowadays.
So an abstract person is, will I be accepted?
Hmm.
Very different. Will they believe what I'm saying, or do I appear to be someone who is out of control?
Wow, so credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, so perception of others.
But perception now through all abstract ideas.
Interesting. Right, because you know what? I really don't care how people perceive me. That fat or thin. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Like really? Oh,
Yeah.
you think this is bad? Okay, whatever. But it's so funny that, because it's important to know those motivations.
Right.
If you're about, because, so the other thing is that, so you can change the physical, your synthetic parts
Right.
of yourself.
Right.
And that goes along with your physical body.
Yeah.
But how you do it,
It's up to you.
but that has to take into account your authentic. The how. Like, how am I going to do
Yeah.
this? What motivates me? How am I going to do it?
But many times it's an opportunity now. It's you want to express your authentic. Now, what's available to you? Sometimes you have no control. What if you were born in Idaho compared to San Francisco? Now you're looking at the symbols around you and the opportunities and the alternate symbols that you could use. So you have a huge, broad opportunity of self-development in San Francisco. Whereas if you were born in Idaho, you're born to a family that are farmers. There's no technology. There's get up every morning, work the land or work with the cows, etc. Then that's just very different possibilities for you. It'd be very difficult to get out. In fact, that's what does happen. People, I always wanted to know why I would see someone in the service and talk to them, and they always had a southern accent.
Hmm.
And I found out because that's the only way to get out was through the service. And so otherwise they stay there. So there's not that possibility of development like they should. So if, well, what if Einstein stayed as a football player? You know, that would be drastic. But things like that happen to other people.
Right.
They just don't have the possibilities. So you have to, this is your identity. And it has to be stable. And what I mean by that is Mel will be Mel for the rest of her life. And you can think of anything you want back to maybe you were 3 years old. You can recall that. In order for you to recall that length of time, there has to have been the same thing present throughout all those years to collect those memories and still be with you. That's this side. This side is where you execute that, those motivations. Over here is your persona. And that's how I behave in this environment. That environment's different, this environment's different. It's like going to a party. And you talk to 3 or 4 people and you think this guy's crazy, this guy is he's really aggressive, this guy acts like he knows a lot, he doesn't, and he's pretty rude. And you go through all of that in the party. Then when you walk out, then you tell whoever you're with what you really felt. And that's the authentic coming out, what you really felt, and everything out here is what you felt at the time with the people. And of course, you're not going to say anything. So you can have all the rude people you want, you're not going to say anything. But down here, when you get back into the car, oh my God, you should hear Bob or Joe. Terrible.
When you were saying that about the abstract being stable and being the part that collects all of your memories and is stable through time, I was thinking of the soul as being the abstract part.
Sure.
It's the identity that leaves when someone dies, and the physical stays.
Right. Because that's your psychic energy.
Right.
And even prior to the theme, that's what you have to have. Of course, I ran out of space here. And prior to that is, if you want to use soul, it's fine. That's your energy, your psychic energy. In fact, Jung spoke about that quite a bit. You have to have where does your energy come from? See, that's the issue. Now, yes, I can tell you what your theme is, but what energizes your theme? So when you open up your eyes in the morning, where's the energy coming from? It's just not biology. Because there's a lot of people who are depressed and never get out of bed. And their body's fine. So it is the soul. It's the energy of the soul that moves things forward.